Are Ukrainian and Russian languages pretty much the same? Nope, they're not, and I'll show you how far apart they are. But don't all Ukrainians speak Russian? Well, only the ones in Ukraine, and I'll explain why. And who's this guy standing behind me? All that as we explore the myth of the Ukrainian and Russian language similarities. Let's start with the first question. There's actually a measure how close two languages are similar to each other. It's called lexical similarity. For example, Italian and Spanish, it has a score of 85. Spanish and French, 75. And both of them, all three of them actually, can trace their roots to some part of Latin language. English and German score about 60. So what's the score for Ukrainian and Russian? 62. Ukrainian and Russian is almost as similar as German and English. Can you, my English-speaking friends, understand Germans? Neither can I. And as someone who speaks Ukrainian and grew up with speaking Ukrainian to my mom and dad at home, I can't understand Russians either. You've probably heard Zelensky. President Zelensky is a comedian, and his comedy series called Servant of the People is now on Netflix. And I had an opportunity to take a look at it, and I had to turn on the English subtitles because anytime they speak Russian, I don't understand the word. So why do so many Ukrainians speak Russian? Well, because Tsarist Russia and Soviet Russia tried to suppress the Ukrainian language and culture for centuries. Tsarist Russia tried to kill the Ukrainian language in a variety of ways. They did things like ban the printing of books in Ukrainian. They burned Ukrainian books. They banned Ukrainian being used in schools, outlawing it, and even banned theatrical performances in Ukrainian at one point. But the Ukrainian language continued to survive. And in fact, this gentleman depicted here is the father of Ukrainian literature, born in 1816. He was named Taras Shevchenko. He's like the William Shakespeare of Ukraine. And he really solidified and strengthened the Ukrainian language within the Ukrainian territories. Now, when Tsarist Russia fell and the Soviet Union came about, Stalin continued to try to squelch the Ukrainian language. He, in fact, started an official Russification campaign where he, again, banned the Ukrainian language in churches and in education. And in fact, the Soviet Union pushed that influence out to the other countries that they controlled, like Poland and Romania, where churches could not have Ukrainian language used in them, and schools were not allowed to teach in Ukrainian. But somehow, despite all of that, the Ukrainian language has survived. And in fact, this statue is of Taras Shevchenko, the father of Ukrainian literature. It's in Kharkiv, only miles away from the Russian border. And this is what the current residents of Kharkiv are doing, spending energy to protect this heritage. Just an amazing display of wanting to protect their language during this time of war. So when Putin says he is protecting the Russian-speaking population, what does that really mean? You know, propaganda really works well when you take one piece of truth and combine it with a message that you want to promote. The piece of truth, Russian-speaking people. Yes, there are many Russian-speaking people in Ukraine, but there's a reason for that. And it's not because they need any protection. It's a century-long manufactured situation where Russian is spoken by every Ukrainian within Ukraine. The Ukrainian people are continuing to fight for their democracy, their independence, their history, their heritage. But they can't do that alone. They need our help. They need our support to continue to fight. Avant has organized the technology channel community and picked Razom, a 501c charity headquartered in the United States, in the heart of the Ukrainian village in New York City. They have extremely close ties with the Ukrainian people within the United States, as well as many volunteers in Ukraine. I want to thank everyone again for all the amazing support we've had with this charity. There are over a dozen companies that have contributed to this effort, and nearly 100 donations in a very short time period, and really appreciate everyone's support and help with this. And as I always end these programs, may the brave people of Ukraine find peace soon. Slava Ukraini.